All righty. We are here and live, and we're talking about, this is the men's circle. So, got a bunch of fellas sitting around. We'll see who shows up today. And as we talk about that, like this space that comes up, and I think loneliness, not having people to talk to, adds to the suicide rate of men, adds to divorce rates, all those things. And so, let's get into this conversation, see where we go. We'll see you soon. Peace.
When I am asked to speak, I embrace the calling. It is my responsibility to make sure to leave everyone inspired to elevate in all aspects of life. In the 26 states and 10 countries, it has been my energy that is infectious and magical. The impact elevates everyone to new heights. It's time to conquer our challenges. Relationships across the board, communication gaps, fear of the unknown, limited beliefs in all that holds us hostage in life. The path to power is peace, and peace is the power to live by. The unique perspective that I bring to the table inspires all, professionals, executives, students, coaches, and athletes to reach their highest potential. That is why I, Sid McNary, am known as the secret weapon. Whether it is tackling mental health issues, success in business, or winning at life, every moment counts. Get ready to receive the tools to win. It's time to win at everything. Let's connect today. Peace.
All righty, here we go. And let's go ahead and get Chris right up and see where we go in this conversation. What's up, bro?
I'm good, man. It's great to be here with you, Sid. How are you doing?
I'm doing good. Just moving the moments. We traveled this weekend, so I still feel like I'm recovering in a sense, just getting that energy back up and just connecting, reconnecting the dots. And I can see when my energy's different. Like I go teach a class and numbers aren't the same, right? Like I know that God, whatever you want to call it, creator is sitting there saying, okay, this is the energy you got to give today, and which wasn't very much.
Doesn't that suck when you feel like that?
Yeah. I mean, it does. And I've learned to just be okay with it, right? Like to recognize that it's nothing but just what is. We are energy, and the energy coming through us some days is high, some days is lower. And that's going to be natural, so I really feel like that shows up that way for me. How about you?
Yeah, no, the same thing. I find that when my energy is down, that I feel it, and I feel like my performance isn't as great. But then oftentimes people tell me like, I would have never known, Chris. Like there's been times where I've done podcast episodes and I've told people like, oh my God, I was so off. I was sweating. I was feeling like shit. I had brain fog. Like you were articulate as ever. And so sometimes we apologize for what we think we're not doing or being, when in all actuality, we're still being and what everybody expects us to be. So we often fault ourselves and kind of go down that rabbit hole. So I just give myself grace. Like today isn't the greatest day. Like I've been dealing with a low iron issue for the last year. And I finally got an iron infusion last week, and I'm excited about feeling better. And people like, I could never tell. I'm like, yeah, because on my worst day, I'm still pushing myself to be better than most.
Yeah. I get that. But which kind of takes us into the conversation at hand, right? Like Dr. Vibe churned this up last week and put it into play. So this idea of loneliness. I mean, loneliness for me, I can think of moments where I felt alone or lonely, right? And then I'd have to say now I've been so alone so much that I'm just okay with it, really. But I crave, like my soul loves feeding people. So So when I'm in like doing a big event, and it can be big, it can be small. When I'm connecting with people, I feel fed. And then when I'm alone, like when I say alone, I know I'm not alone because I can pick up the phone and my wife's always on her way home at some point. And yet when I'm alone, there are those times where I'm just like, all right, what's next? Because I'm not wanting to sit right now. As much as I sit,
Mm-hmm.
So that's kind of how it shows up for me, this idea of lonely. It's just those times when I think the only time that happens is when I would imagine for most people, when I am somewhere wanting to be somewhere else.
Yeah. Right. I hear you. I find it for me, it's when I feel disconnected from myself, when I'm in my own head about things. And I find that I isolate myself because I feel like I'm going through a process where I can't bother anybody. Right. And we know as men, we're taught to be tough. We're taught, don't burden other people, all these different stereotypes and things that we're told as young men, and the things we see in other people. We're like, oh, that person's so strong, or that person's never weak, or you never see them. Men don't cry. And so I find that loneliness for me is usually self-inflicted based on how I'm judging myself and feeling disconnected from my true purpose. And it doesn't happen that often, but it happens in phases of my life. And I was thinking about this conversation, Sid. I look back on my life and I'm like, when have I felt the loneliness? Loneliest? Yeah. Try to say that 10 times fast. And one of the times was after my first divorce. One of the times when I exited corporate America back in 2019. And it was all tied to who my identity was, because it was wrapped up in who I was at that point. It was Chris and Tammy, Chris and Tammy, Chris and Tammy. All of our friends were our married friends. My wife was insecure, so I wasn't really allowed to go have other relationships, or I had to have relationships with people that she knew. And so once we got divorced in that first year, I was 23 years old. I got married at 18, divorced at 23. And I went through a super lonely period because before that, I was with my mom, taking care of her, being homeless. So there was always a mission and purpose in my life that kind of directed and guided me. And that's what brought people into my life. But in those times of loneliness, I felt that's the period of transition. That was the period of growth that I needed for myself to reevaluate who Chris really is. Am I the husband? Am I the director of operation? Am I the coach? Am I the dad? Who am I at my core? And so when I reconnect with myself, it's really just about, am I happy with being who I am? Do I love who I am? Do I like who I am? And I know for that period of time when I went through that first divorce, I just kind of told myself, I need this time to give myself space, right? Because so oftentimes we don't give ourselves space. Men's, oh, I got to do and I got to be and and then we don't stop to really think and allow our feelings to come up. We just push them down. I was just talking about last night on the podcast. We either repress, suppress, or express our feelings, our emotions, right? And so oftentimes we push them down, push them down, push them down. And that's what leads us to addiction, because then we find that dopamine hit. We find that validation through our gambling, through whatever it might be. And in that year, I got to really connect with who I was, and I allowed myself just to be on my own. But then I got to a point where I was sitting home on Friday and Saturday nights feeling sorry for myself. And I thought, is that who you are now? You're the guy that sits at home feeling sorry for yourself, all disappointed. Your ex-wife is out having friends and all that stuff. And so I just decided to take responsibility for my life. And I started going to the gym. And I made it a point, like, I'm just going to say hi to one person every time I go to the gym. Hey, man, what's up? How are you doing today? And through that process, oh, I'm doing pretty good. How are you? What are you working on today? Oh, I'm working on chest and tries. Oh, cool. What are you working on? Oh, I'm working on back buys. All right, cool. And so what's your favorite buy exercise? Oh, bicep exercise. Well, it's this. And then just, oh, you should meet this dude. He's got fucking, and oh, hey, what are you doing tonight? Oh, let's go out. And I just slowly but surely started building a group of dudes. There was about 5 or 6 of them for probably about a good 6 years. We were a strong community until, things started to shift. But when has it been for you? Well, when you look back on your life, what was the loneliest period of your life?
In marriages, actually. I would say,
Why was that?
I would say, which is why it led to divorce. Like, lonely because the connection wasn't happening beyond where it was. Like there was this space of really being like, all right, where are we headed? Like, and which I've been that person. Like something comes to my brain, create that just where I go. But what I had to get okay with and begin to know, it's like I wrote 35 songs, and last night I created them all, the skeleton of the songs, so that the band could get together and we can go record. And I've created the skeleton for, I don't know, 16 songs. And then pouring like that, I didn't know that pouring in that way, there is like this lull for me, like recharge, like simple, like to really plug in and recharge. And so I had to learn that, learn how to do that, like to just be okay with nothing and recharge, and be okay with somewhat being relaxing, lazy. They're hand in hand, right? They're like twins.
Mm-hmm.
and being okay with being lazy, like, and just taking it in stride and yeah, all those things. So the biggest thing I'd say, it hasn't changed in the sense of, I just recognize it now. Like I can see it, and it's like, all right, that's just a feeling. It's just gonna change. Every emotion changes in 90 seconds unless you hold on to it. So, so I'm very aware of that. And when it comes and I feel it, then it's like, all right, what am I holding on to? What do I need to look at? Right. Yeah, that's how it shows up. I mean, but I would say those times for me has been at a lull in my relationships, which is interesting. Like now, where I used to, I would go reach for that, like reach to the people that I was missing, whatever. Yesterday, I wore my friend's yoga studio sweatshirt. She called this morning, right? Like it was just like, and that sweatshirt's like at the bottom of a deep stack.
Yeah.
And for whatever reason, I pulled it out. She picked up the phone. She actually texted me. She called last night and I was in a meeting, and we got on this morning. And I think there's something for me, just looking in and saying, okay, who is it that I miss? Why? Or whatever. And then either accept it or do something about it.
That's the thing right there. When I was thinking about this, I wrote a couple of notes down to remind myself. When I was thinking about, men usually struggle when we feel unnecessary, when we feel like, we're not needed, when we lose our sense of purpose, we lose our sense of contribution, we lose our sense of leadership, or we lose our sense or accountability for being responsible. And I thought about it. I'm like, we don't just need connection. We need meaningful contribution. Like when I look back on my life, when have I felt the loneliest? Especially when I left corporate America back in 2019. I was so excited. I'm like, oh, now I can do my coaching and my speaking and all this stuff. I have free time. It's time for me to do this. But I was so surprised at the fact of how lonely, misunderstood, disrespected, all these different feelings that came over me as a part of who I am. And I realized that so much of my life was wrapped up into that job, being the director of operations and having all these relationships and being a leader and being a mentor, that I was so alone for those first 6 months because I felt like, what's wrong with me? And that's oftentimes what men do, is we sit there and we put it on ourselves. Like, oh, what's wrong with me? And then we go down that rabbit hole. Oh, well, maybe it's this and maybe it's that. And we make all these assumptions about ourselves, when realistically, we just got to ask ourselves the same question that you did. Like, okay, what can I do about it? What am I willing to do about it? And so oftentimes people sit in that isolation, they sit in that loneliness, and they let it define who it is they are. And then they go to porn, they go to anything that's able to replace that feeling of meaninglessness. And so I have found so oftentimes that when I go and I give of myself to others, whether I'm mentoring at-risk kids, which I've done throughout my entire life, go help the homeless families, do something that allows me to give a greater sense of myself and bring more community into my life, I find that every single time somehow I meet other powerful men that are in the same wavelength. And so that's what I always recommend to people. What's up, Dr. Vibe? I always recommend to people, like, do something that you love. Get out and do something that you love, whatever your hobby is or whatever your passion is. And chances are you're going to meet like-minded people. But so oftentimes we just sit in that bitter isolation wondering, okay, why isn't somebody calling me? And we don't realize all the beauty and all the opportunity that's around us. And I even did that on my birthday last week. I was focusing on one guy that didn't call me for my birthday. And I was like, why isn't that guy calling me? Man, I knew he was full of shit. And what did I do? And all this other shit. And then I was like, Chris, you've gotten over 300 messages and text and phone calls. Like, stop focusing on what was and focus on what is. But more importantly, focus on what can be. And that, again, is us taking that responsibility to say, hey, listen, I need a deeper connection. And, we can dive into that a little bit, but want to welcome Dr. Vibe to the conversation. What's up, brother? It's good to see you.
Everything's up. Sorry about the delay. Like about 3 minutes before, my computer froze.
Oh, I've had that.
But then I logged back in, and I have my logins on a Google.
Yeah, you're still, now you're in the matrix.
You're glitching.
On my Google Drive. Click on the folder, it won't open. So I have.
Let me see if I can text him.
Okay, I'm back.
I'm
back. I don't know what's going on, but hey, I'm back. So yeah, I couldn't.
It's your energy, man. It's your energy. You're shorting out the internet.
Yeah, I was just and I have a folder where I have my passwords to log in. Wasn't working, wasn't going. So I had to do a reboot, this, that, and other thing. So my apologies. Great to be here as always. And looking forward to giving, and also learning, but giving first.
Hell yeah, man.
So that's
what we were just talking about when we felt the loneliness and our loneliness. Why can't I fucking say that word?
The loneliness.
In our lives, right?
The most lonely.
Yeah.
So
F that
really, there's different points in the journey. I think one time where I lost employment many years ago.
Mm-hmm.
Actually, so here's a little short story. Oh, now I love sharing stories these days. My dad was down in Jamaica and he was hanging out there, and he says, "Come on down, son. Come on down. Come on down." I go, I don't know. Like, I was concerned about where I was working at the time. And I said, okay. So I went down. When I came back the day after, I got let go.
Mm-hmm.
Plus, it was a week before the pandemic. So I'm just going,
some stuff.
Whoa, that was a lot. The good thing, though, is that I've built a lot of relationships along the way so that I can be alone, but I'm not lonely unless I choose to be. Unless I choose to be. Do I have a second I have some things I just want to share before we really get into this.
Yeah, go for it.
So I'm going to say we're in a connection crisis, not just a mental health crisis. And I did some research, and almost 4 in 10 adults report sometimes feeling lonely, and younger men under 35 report loneliness at a higher rate than the national average in the United States.
Yep.
And then in Canada, nearly 1 in 2 men feel socially isolated, and the risk is even higher for men living alone and racialized men. So I want to just share that, brothers, this isn't just in your head. The numbers say many of us are doing life alone, even in a crowded room.
It's so true. I mean, we're so socially connected. And I look back on this because I was thinking, like, there have definitely been moments, and there still are moments when I reflect on 2025 and what I could do differently for 2026. One of the biggest things that I've made a commitment to doing is bettering my in-person relationships. Mm-hmm. Like, I talk to people on the phone, I talk to people on Zoom, but the in-person, hey, let's go out and go fishing. Hey, let's go to a car show. Hey, let's go to a concert. Hey, let's just go hang out and have some dinner. I've done a poor job of reaffirming those relationships because I'm like, oh, I'm busy with my family, and and I enjoy being alone. I enjoy my solitude. Like I go camping for 10 days and I don't talk to anybody. I like that. But I also realized I'm like, there's something missing. There's a void in my heart. And it's been this transition period, like I was telling Sid before, from going from corporate and realizing that I am on this ascension to continue to grow and change myself every single day. And I realized when I look back on my relationships, and I just recently reached out to some people that I used to be really, really good friends with. We're still friends, but we used to be really, really close and connect a lot. And I asked them, I said, what about me has changed that there is more of a distance in our relationship than there's been before? And he goes, that Chris, he goes, your willingness to be vulnerable, your willingness to talk about issues scares me sometimes. It intimidates me because you're so comfortable in talking about this stuff. Me and my guy friends, we never talk about what we're feeling. He goes, but I get around you and I just feel like I'm drinking from a fire hose. And I said, so I'm pretty intense. And he goes, yeah. And he goes, your heart's in the right place, but it causes me to have to reevaluate where I'm at. And that feels uncomfortable. And so I realized like I need to tone down the motivation thing and, oh, you can do this and you can do that. And what I've learned is when I just shut up and listen more and say, man, that really sucks. Is there anything I can do? Oh no, man, just you listening, just you asking some questions has been the best thing. So I've known for me that I have to accept that responsibility and that truth. And it's helped me to become a better person. So that's become my commitment here in 2026 is to make that effort to reach out to people and to go to new places and experiences so I can have that connection, because I see my wife and I'll raise my hand. I get jealous. I'm like, oh, she's going wine tasting. She's going down to the gay rights parade. She's going, like this weekend, she's going to Vegas with her sister and her niece. Like, I don't really go anywhere with anybody. My friend invited me to Nashville and she's like, you should go to Nashville. And I'm like, well, we always said we're going to go together. She goes, go have a boys trip in Nashville. You need this. So it's about that awareness and accepting responsibility and realizing that we don't have to do this alone.
Chris, there's so many incredible levels to what you shared. I think one of the things is the in-person stuff. Yeah. And I love and if anyone hasn't been to an in-person event, if you're up to it, please do it, because probably a lot of times you're going to run into someone you haven't seen in a long time. Mm-hmm. And you have those conversations. Like, people are still living in the world of post-pandemic. There's still people that are still cocooned and all that sort of thing. I'm selective, but I love my in-person events and I love going to them because just running into people. But also, here's another example. Was it Saturday night? Usually on Saturday nights, I'm watching like 48 Hours because I love crime mysteries, right? And it's like 10:45. I got a text message. I'm going, what's up? Someone called me at 10:45 or text messaging. And it was a friend of mine, a lady that I haven't seen in about, oh my gosh, 7-8 years. And we've known each other for 30 years. And she said, oh, thank you for introducing me to such and such an artist. I just saw him in concert. I go, darn, I should have been there. But what did I do the next day? I called her. We spoke for 3 hours.
Sweet.
And just the feeling and just, it was so, as my dad would say, it was tonic for me to have that 3-hour conversation and just like so many different things and all that. And I go, there's a lot of lonely men out there, and we don't have all the answers, but hopefully some of the things we're just sharing, whether it be a story, whether it's statistics or just facts, hopefully we can how you take a next step.
I'm going to roll back to that question Chris asked me before you got here, Dr. Vibe, of when did I feel the most lonely? And so I just went through, and it's like, all right, graduation from college, leaving. I mean, I lived in a fraternity of 240 guys. So like that separation is a lot to move from. And then became football. And then I left football and at the same time getting divorced. So that was an interesting dance. But then Vision Quest, moving the studio, all the different things. But what I can say is until Vision Quest, I always found somebody else, which was typically a woman, to fill that void. And I go back to what Miss Angel said, I don't know if I'm saying that correctly. Excuse me if I'm not.
I always mess up her, and I always feel so. I call her Miss Angel, so I hope I got that right. But she's an angel, yeah.
And she said, you always have yourself, and that's what Vision Quest helped me come to grips with, being truly with myself, and not just this self, the shell of my earth self, but the self that is my bigger self than the one that I normally relate to. And so I think for me, what allows me the freedom to get out of that feeling is I connect to myself.
So important.
Like to really get present into myself.
So Sid, if I have permission, what are some of the ways that you connect with yourself?
I mean, I meditate. I write poetry, which is me writing songs. You know, like I just wrote a song that's about my daughter. And, you know, you guys know, like, I haven't seen my daughter since she graduated college, which was, I don't even know. That's how long ago it was. Like 3-4 years. And also I'm okay letting her move through her process, whatever that looks like, even if it's in the next life or however that works. But that's how when she comes up on my heart, especially now that I've reached out every time she's come up on my heart, then I'm like, okay, you're gonna have to meet me halfway, like at least, right? So yeah, that hits my heart, like it just does, like, and it's often, I'd have to say that it was divorces, and then it was almost like I got divorced from my daughter, right? Like that separation. And then it's just like, all right, it's okay. It's just going to have to be. Because I'm here to tell you, almost every person I've ever had a breakup with, I've continued to reach to and make sure they're okay and do all those things. And then they're not okay with that. So then, or, you know, life moves on, they get married or something like that. And I'm just not that person. I don't need to crush someone else's relationships. I'm okay having a relationship with someone. It just, no matter who they are. And it doesn't have to mean anything, because the most intimate I can be is to give you my time and my presence, period. Like I've done it. I could have sex with people and not be there. Like literally, especially, you know, back when I was younger and testosterone was flowing a hell of a lot more. It was easier to do that, to not be fully engaged, but to be enough engaged that my body responded. Now, if I'm not truly present and connected, my body won't even respond. It's like, nah, this ain't it. So I have to get real present to myself, period. Yeah, that's it. I mean, meditation is my biggest thing. Going to the gym, I do think move my body erases it. Like it just kind of gets you. So it's really comes down to getting back in my body.
Okay.
Yeah. As I talk that out.
Okay. That's great. That's
really, you know, I think that's why even people that are like, and I'm not recommending this for anyone, so don't just delete if you need to, but people that cut, right? They're not looking to truly kill themselves, but they cut themselves. It's because that physical pain is getting them into their body. Like you get fully present when you're bleeding. You get fully present if someone punches you in the mouth. Like, and all the other stuff stops. So I think as I look at that, like, however, the most connected I can get to get fully present is what I need to do.
Yeah, I mean, I do. There's a lyric in a song. Speaking of songs, I have to bleed just to know I'm alive. It's a Goo Goo Dolls song. But I want to go back to what Dr. Vibe had said. You know, and my wife had told me this. She said, "Do you know what incels are?" And I'm like, it sounds like a terrorist group. She says, no, they're insular. They're men that are not having sex. They're not having relationships. They stay home and do video games. They order DoorDash and they don't connect. And I haven't done any research on this, but I'm curious to think, maybe Dr. Vibe, you know this, what is the precipitous for this? I'm thinking, kids are in school, they're coming out of high school, they should have those relationships. And I usually things you can go back to fear-based, like what's the fear that's going on that are causing people not to connect or not feeling like they want to connect? What do you guys think that is? Because I've become more aware of this now recently than ever, because I'm like, okay, I know some people are lonely, but it seems to be an epidemic that people aren't connecting, or they think that they're connecting and maybe they're not.
I'm holding up one of the root causes right here.
Oh yeah, Jesus, yeah.
Right. And the imagery that promotes, that there's imagery there that promotes it. In order to be flash, you got to be this, that, the other thing. And when they don't meet that expectation, they go insular.
I'm not good enough.
Yeah, I'm not good enough. And again, too, this also reduces, we were talking a little bit early on about the human interaction. Like everyone's doing interaction through this thing. And then when they come out to face, like when people go on dates, people a lot of times spend more time on this thing than actually speaking face to face.
Yeah, I think it's more than actual talking though. Like, because like I've been reading in my book out loud to people, and we just entered me going on my 10 days in silence, and this young man, Skylar, came to me Tuesday last week, and we were talking. He's like, I need to leave my life. Like I got to get away. And I was like, listening. And then it was just like, I'm not sure that you need to do all that. You ought to check out this thing I did. So I sent it to him, Vipassana. And in one day he had already signed up. Then he was like, and I'm just going to let it unfold. And he's now in the car driving to Texas so he can sit for 10 days in silence. So, and I bring that up to say, I'm not sure that it's about connecting out here. I don't think it has much to do with that at all, because in here, everyone is.
Yeah.
And that, like him going to sit for 10 days. Now we connected, but I could still see, like, even in our conversations at time, like this other guy came next to us yesterday as we were sitting talking, and he wanted to join in. And eventually I just kind of backed out because he just needed to dump. And maybe that's why I feel like this, that he was just dumping so much. And it was like, nah, bruh, like you need to go in and let that stuff clear, like, and not splatter it on everybody else. So just an interesting thought. I'm not sure where that goes, but yeah.
Permission to add on to that, Sid. I still think a lot of men are taught to be stoic, self-sufficient, and not ask for help, which makes it harder to admit loneliness or seek support, even when they're struggling. Even when they're struggling, a lot of us aren't asking for help because we feel it's less than a man to ask for help. Right? And a lot of our relationships are based on activity, and we rely on activity-based relationships like sports, work, at the gym. And then when the activity stops, the relationship often disappears too.
Now, do you do that? Like, are you willing to ask for help?
All the time.
All right. So what makes why do you say that? Like, how many, guys that just won't ask for help?
Yes.
Now, here's something that my aunt used to say, and this is why I don't call myself a healer. Because if I call myself a healer, the only way to be a healer is to find sick people. So in order for that to even show up in my life, to be a healer, the people that come to me have to be sick. That's real. Like, you can't be a healer if you don't have sick people. So but then, so I don't call myself a healer. I don't put myself out there much that way. And it's just like, I'm just present to what God brings me. That's why I ask, because I don't have people in my life, guys, that aren't willing to ask for help. So much that sometimes too many of them ask for help.
Well, and let's realize that everyone walks life differently. And the thing is, I sort of make it myself that, hey, I wasn't born on the Flintstones, and it took two people for me to get into this world. So I take that philosophy that it wasn't done by my own, but I make sure that if I can't solve something, and even when things come up, if I'm not sure, I have a circle which I can reach out to. Going through a situation right now where I've reached out to 3 different of my board of directors to get their perspective on things, because I want to take the emotional out of it and have rational, because I don't want to make that flying out decision, because for a number of men, the easiest emotions are either silence or anger. That's it. That's it. So I make sure that I've put, I call them the trees. Some of the trees in my forest that these guys can see the trees when I can't see the trees.
Yep. So important to have those different perspectives in your life. I mean,
exactly.
I lived with a guy. I lived with my friend's grandfather for a minute. I was helping him out. He was helping me out. And I just remember he was so busy. He was in his late 80s at that time. And when I thought about it, I wrote it down. He was a part of a church. He was part of a fraternal lodge. He was part of a union. He had military service. So he had people that he connected with from World War II. He had neighborhood groups that he was involved in. He was part of a bowling league. And I started thinking about it. And again, going back to my situation and being vulnerable and thinking about my loneliness, I'm like, I wasn't always like this. And I'm like, oh yeah, I used to be part of a Harley group. We used to always go riding and talking and hanging out and talking bikes. I was into desert racing and sand rails and dune buggies and stuff like that. So there was a brotherhood there. We'd go to each other's house and work on cars and stuff like that. And then all of a sudden I got into this personal development space and became a speaker and a coach and podcaster and everything else. And my life got consumed with serving and being, and I loved that, but also I neglected that other opportunity in my life. And I think that's important, because so many men today are working remotely. They're socializing online, and they lack that community. And that's why I said at the beginning of the show, I can't remember if you heard it, Dr. Vibe, it was like, go volunteer. Like, what can you do to go connect with like-minded people and give of yourself? It's pretty important, because, we lose our sense of purpose. But I think going back to the younger generation, you're absolutely right. Like, I encourage people, like, can you go out of the house with this? When I go to the gym every single day, I'm horrified at everybody's just on their phone. They're doing their leg lifts, and I see them scrolling. Maybe they're looking at a workout, and I walk behind them and I'm like, no, they're on Amazon. I'm like, God's honest truth. My wife is this person. Like, she is on her phone 24/7. I'm like, watching a movie. She's got glasses now where she can look at her phone and watch the movie at the same time.
Oh my goodness.
Are you kidding me?
Wow.
Are you kidding me? Oh no, it's a thing. It's a thing. I think that, by having this conversation that we can hopefully reach out to other people. And I told myself, like, I have a 69 Charger downstairs. And so I started working on it more, and I made it a point to tell my son, we're going to start going to classic car clubs and doing stuff like that, because my role as a father, and we can talk about this also, is I'm like, okay, where is this all headed? Like, my kid's on his device. I'm like, no. If there's going to be any skill you're going to have, it's going to be able to communicate and interact with fucking people. And so he goes in, he's in Cub Scouts, he's in band, he takes drum lessons. Like, I am encouraging him to make sure that he's in front of people. He says, please and thank you. He says, how was your day? Encouraging those conversations, because I think in some respect, especially with like COVID, you mentioned, Dr. Vibe, that isolation is just like, okay, as long as I'm right here, I'm not bothering anybody, or I don't have to feel rejected or less than. So I encourage people like to really get out there and do something that you love. And as your heart gets warmed up, and as you start to feel that sense of being human, having that connection with humanity, that bleeds out into other areas of your life and your relationships, in the legacy that you get to leave. And so it breaks my heart to think that, you know, like you said, I think 1 in 2 men in Canada hopefully people are having an opportunity to hear this and will hear this and realize that they're not alone. And it's not a sign of weakness. It's a sign of strength. And to your point, Dr. Vibe, I tell people to have a team, and they can't be the same person. You have to have somebody you trust, somebody who empowers you, somebody who holds you accountable, and somebody who's your mentor. And so, like you said, board of directors, I love that. I use that too. But like, who's my team? And I thought about it. I always tell people, like, who can you call at 2:00 in the morning when you're standing on a street corner? And no word of a lie, I had to do that one time. I had to call my friend Rob, who I've known for 30 plus years. I'm like, dude, literally, it was a whole other story involving Jägermeister and bad decisions. But I'm like, can you come pick me up? I have no fucking idea where I'm at. And he came and picked me up at 2:30 in the morning. And I went to his house and slept it off. And we need those people in our life. And we need to be those people in our life without the fixing thing. I know that's the biggest thing, and I'll shut up after that. That's the biggest thing I've had to learn, is that I thought when somebody came to me with an issue, like, oh, here's the 17 things you could do. And it's like, no, you know, men are from Mars, women are from Venus. I learned a lot from that book, but I didn't realize that it applied to men too. It's like, no, Chris, just, hey man, thank you for sharing that. Thank you for sharing that. Let's make sure we stay more in touch. And I did that last week. I've talked to 3 people that I've talked to online that I haven't talked to in person. 3 people, and like, man, we're way overdue for this. And I'm going to come to California and like, let's fucking do it. Let's go to Vegas. Let's meet up in Nashville. Let's have plans on your calendar that you're excited about to get to interact with people. And so I'm raising my hand and as somebody that's being a part of the solution now.
Yeah. I would just say, I encourage the men and those who love them that are listening or watching to this, try to have a get to life, not a got to life.
Yep. Can you go deeper on that? Because I tell people that all the time. You get to, you don't got to.
Well, I guess the best way is you go, oh, I got to do this. And a lot of times our body language, our minds, is something we're not looking forward to do. But something like this, I fight my computer to get to do this because this is something that makes me better. And if it makes me better, then it's going to help others that I come in contact. Hopefully it'll make them better, or I can be an example of, there's something good going on in my life and I want to share it with you. But when you get to do something, most people are excited to do it. Because this thing called life can be boring, I got to go to work. I got to go to work. How many people say, oh, I got to go to work today? Right? Instead of, I'm going to go hang out with Chris and work on a 69 Charger. I want to just encourage, even if it's for 1 minute a day, what's something you can get to do, even if it starts 1 minute a day. 1 minute a day. If you can do that and just start from that, I will say you start noticing a change. So get to do things. Get to pick something, even if it's small, even if it's sitting in a chair for 5 minutes during the day. I really encourage men, whatever you're doing during the day, can you take 15 minutes and do nothing? Shut it all off. If you're coming home to work and you got to go with the family, before you go in the house, take 10 minutes and just relax, because you don't know what's going to be happening once you open up that door. Right? So get in a good state and just take care of yourself. Just get to take care of yourself, even if it's a small thing. Find out how many men who are watching this, is there something you've given up on that you'd like to do again? Have you given up on a dream? Have you given up on something, whether it's go surfing like Sid does all the time? Is it going for a walk? Is it calling a buddy you haven't seen? There you go.
Back to taking guitar lessons.
Make room for it. Make room and rekindle that energy that's been a little bit lost in you, and rekindle the fire. Feel the fire.
I tell people there's the 5, and yet it's so important that you brought that up, Dr. Vibe, because that personal self-care, the 5 is hydration, nutrition, sleep, exercise, and vitamin D. And I've found more times than not when people, men or women, because most of my clients are women, about 98% of them are. What's crazy, a side note, my YouTube audience is like 95% men, and my TikTok audience is like 99% women. It is so
interesting.
It is so random, but the Hydration. Are you drinking enough water? Oh, I don't drink any water. What do you drink? Coffee. I have to have my coffee, right? No, you don't really have to. You have to drink water because your body's like 85% water. How is your sleep? Are you getting quality sleep? I wear an Oura ring. It's charging right now. What's the quality of your deep sleep? Nutrition. What are you putting into your body? Exercise. Are you getting out? Are you getting some fresh air? I start my morning by getting sunshine on my face, the vitamin D, multi-purpose, breathing in fresh air, walking my kid to school, hydration, sleep, exercise, and vitamin. I found that more people are vitamin D deficient, which causes mental health issues, which causes depression. I was that person. I was getting out and getting sunshine, but I went to my doctor in my 30s and I said, can you do a vitamin deficiency panel? And so we did it. Found out I was deficient in zinc, deficient in magnesium, deficient in the shit bananas have.
Potassium,
and vitamin D. And guess what? I went on Amazon and I ordered a bunch of shit and I started eating more bananas and putting them in my shakes. Within a couple of weeks, I went from being like, and I'm a fucking positive person. And I went from being like, oh, to, hey, and it shifted everything. It was like this casting a pebble in a pond. Boom. And so when I have people do that, I'm like, you can't afford to coach with me. Do these 5 things for like 6 weeks. Like seriously. And you come back to me and you tell me if you're not like 50% better, at least. So what is that for you guys? What is that self-care, that rejuvenation, that recharge? What is that for you guys?
One of the things, strangely enough, I was going to mention this, but I tied on. I go to see my doctor every month. And it's not because I have any prevalent health issues, but I like preventative. And for me, we're at the point now, we've been seeing each other like 25, 30 years. And it's something I get to do, right? Because I'm getting a look on what my health is like. We talk about sports and all that sort of thing. So it's another outlet of preventing being that loneliness. We have a good vibe and things like that. Chris, come back to what you were originally saying, because I just wanted to put that out there. What was you were asking myself and Sid?
How you rejuvenate yourself? Like we talked about Sid writing music and going to the gym, meditating. Like, what is that? What are some things that are tangible that people can do that maybe don't have a big budget that they can do to do that self-care? Because so oftentimes it's that feeling of inadequacy, that feeling, or like, again, talking about comparison. I've also found that when we evaluate the people that we have in our life, like Sid, you don't have these people in your life. I wished my sister well back in 2005. I reconnected with her after not seeing her since I was 9 years old, and I connected with her for a year, and she was toxic beyond toxic. And I thought, there is nothing I can do in this world to save her. And if we didn't share any blood, would I want anything to do with her? And I said, no. And I wished her well. I said, you have a great life. Please don't ever contact me again. And that was a big cutoff point for me, not tolerating people that I thought I could save. And instead of reinvesting that energy into myself, and that, again, the pebble in the pond thing started attracting all these other amazing opportunities in my life that I had never experienced before. So that self-care, that self-love, to be able to say, you know what, I'm not going to tolerate those people, even if they're my family, were those initial stepping stones for me to recognize that I am worthy and I am valued, irregardless of what my mother told me, irregardless of the fact that I was bullied everywhere I was as a kid. I had zero self-confidence. If the way I talk now and the way I am now, you saw me as a kid, you'd be like, that kid is not going to grow up to be who I ultimately turn out to be. But there's been these little shifts in my life where I've invested in that self-care, going to therapy. I'm actually going back to therapy again. I haven't been to therapy in 7 years, but I know where I'm at 57 years old, and with what's going on in the world, I need to communicate this stuff out. I need to better understand some different perspectives that I can have. So I take ownership in that. And that's what I really want to impart on people that are listening and watching, whether they're male or female, is what are some of those things we could do to get them to believe in themselves more and to have that more self-love?
Well, I'd say this. You got to surround yourself with people who can listen. Mm-hmm. Because this just is what it is. I wanted to see how long it would take until I broke into you two talking. Like, you got to surround yourself with people that can listen and see you. Because if they can't see you, you may as well disappear. Like, seriously. And I think, when I look, because this whole time I've just been evaluating me, right? Like, all right, let me look in on this conversation. And the moments that, divorces, and part of the reason why I went through all that was, damn, I didn't have anybody to talk to. I mean, they weren't listening. So the shit was like, excuse my language, it was a lot easier to just go find somebody else to be with, because most people listen intently in the beginning. And then when it gets real nut cutting time, they stop listening. And then that's when the pedal hits the metal, and it ain't sticking. There ain't no traction. And that to me is a problem. So I would say that as I look at myself, as I look at people, like, all right, who are they listening? And do they see you? Like, hey, what's going on? Those two things, those are two characteristics that I'd want. And then once I put those down, then I was able, I didn't mean to hit that again. Then I was able to see, okay, who are my people that I talk to, that I trust, who empowers me, who challenges me, so on and so forth. But it's the people that listen. Because if they can't hear you, and if they don't see you, they can't do any of that stuff.
So true.
I'll just add on to what some things that I suggest. Prioritize sleep. Getting a good sleep is so important. People may not think it, but getting a good sleep is really, aim for a regular bedtime. Don't reduce your screen time before you go to bed. And move your body during the day, whether it's walks, light workouts, stretching. Stress relieving, those home warns is a good thing. Take 5 minutes, and I said whatever minutes, just for quiet every day, whether it's deep breathing, short prayer, or some meditation. Do a daily mental check-in and name how you're feeling. Name how you're feeling to yourself, because if you can't identify it, it's not going to help. Identify how you're feeling. Like, I have a little chart that has faces on it, and I look at those faces, and this is how I'm feeling today. So identify. Don't try to hide it. And for other people, journaling will help too. And also, intentionally connect with one person each week, whether it's a call, a coffee, if it can, a walk, or something like that. But stay connected, because it will not only help you, but a lot of times it will also help that other person just as much as you.
Truth. And I just put this in the chat because it just rang a big bell in my life. At 32 years old, I was feeling like absolute dog crap. And I went to the doctor, and we did our normal test. And for whatever reason, I don't know if we were testing my testosterone before or not, but I had my testosterone checked at 32, and he came back, and I can't remember exactly the numbers, but it was under 200. And he's like, you need testosterone. You're not producing enough testosterone. I'm like, I have no problem in the bedroom. I have no problem in the gym. I don't know what, but I was just feeling like complete crap. And for 5 years, he kept saying, your testosterone's low. Your testosterone's low. I'm like, no, it's not. No, it's not. No, it's not. I'm a man. I can still get erections. I'm good. You're full of shit. I don't need that. And I was like, okay, I'm tired of feeling this way. So I said, let's try it. I tried the cream. That didn't work. And then I started doing the injections, and my testosterone went over 800. And I was like, because you don't know how bad you feel until you feel good. I was like, holy crap. And the phrase, I wish I would have done it sooner, came falling out of my mouth. And so oftentimes I talk to men, I'm like, what's your testosterone? Especially I don't know. I'm like, for fuck's sake, like, go get that tested. Like, it, no matter what you're doing or how you're feeling, sometimes there's just something that causes it to decline. And I don't know, do you guys get your testosterone checked? I'm sure you guys do.
I do. Yeah. Absolutely. 100%. 100%. Your health is your wealth, man.
Yeah.
I mean, I know my health is my wealth, and I still haven't.
Why not?
Because I'm healthy as I don't know what. So just been that. I mean, now I've gone to the doctor. I'm sure they have tested it, because I get my blood tested, but it's never been something we've talked about. But I know it's on the chart. I couldn't tell you a number. And yeah, I mean, I'm on no meds, you know. Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
unfortunately, I have to jump because I have something at the top there, but I'm going to leave with, if I have permission, with two quick things, if I have your permission.
Yeah, go.
First of all, if you love a man, don't just ask what he provides. Ask who's pouring back into him. And then I want to challenge all our men and those who love them out there. What's one move you're willing to make in the next 7 days to be less lonely? Reach out, show up, or even open up to another man.
Right on. Chris, what's your wind up here? Go for it.
My wind up is the drum I've been beating is that self-care, that awareness, that willingness to accept responsibility for where you're at and not waiting for other people to reach out to you and see how you're doing, is to take that proactive action to have self-care, to have something on your calendar that you're looking forward to. If you know your mental health is struggling, go see somebody who can help. There have been times where I've tried antidepressants, I've tried ADHD medications. I'm very open and honest about the things I've tried. I take herbs and supplements now that help me, but just don't sit there in misery and quiet desperation, hoping, wishing, and praying that something changes. It changes with us. It changes with you evaluating if you're happy or not in your life and being honest with yourself, not running away from your problems in your phone and your shopping and Netflix and all this other stuff. And just like get out there and truly live your life, because like Dr. Vibe said, so important. You get to experience this amazing gift called life. And so many people squander it and take it for granted. And then something bad happens. And then they have this awareness and this awakening, and they look back and like, I wish I would have been doing this sooner. So if you're in the grasp of hearing our words and seeing our faces tonight, like take action and responsibility on that, because when you do, that will have a ripple effect to other people in your life, and what you put out will start to reap rewards, and you will attract that back. I can't emphasize that enough. I've seen it thousands of times in my life. So do that and go out there and let's help build humanity and make humanity stronger, because more than ever, we need more of this. I just got a shirt that says free hugs. Like I have on my truck. I have an inclusion banner out in front of my house.
Nice.
Like I'm trying to send the message. I am sending the message out there that we're more the same than we are different. And when we take that action, that responsibility, it makes life so much more enjoyable and tolerable. And I just had a friend reach out to me yesterday after my post about anxiety, and her friend committed suicide. And it just broke I'm like, oh, if somebody could have just listened. And I just want to reinforce that as well with Sid, is like really seek to understand. Like really, we have 2 ears, 1 mouth. I have had to get a much better job of this. And it's pretty incredible what can happen and how we can build connections. So that's my final thoughts.
I love that.
Thank you, Sid, for putting this on, because it's so important. That's why I make it a point to be
huge
here.
word. Understanding, that's a whole other conversation, but the power of understanding is huge.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I'm gonna leave it with this. In this world of talking apps, talking videos, talking podcasts, talking, if everybody's freaking talking, who the frick is listening? Get out there and start listening. That's what I got. I'm gonna leave it at that.
All right.
Start listening.
Thank you guys for watching and listening.
All right. We'll see you next week, guys. Be well.
I've been at peace for so long. It seems like I've been sitting all alone. Would you know when the crew is coming through? They're the ones that will make anew. Gotta go, gotta flow, gotta choose the truth. We the ones that will raise the roof. Let's roll up and throw down. Let's go and feel the sound. Good vibes, one tribe. Can you feel me now? Be you, be me, be free. Go and take it till we bounce the beat. Take it to the streets, make a move the feet. I can slow it down, look in my eyes now. Just like you two want it fast. Spread them wings and make it last. God was the one to erase the past. Time to bring it forward to see the forecast. Did you hear it? Did you hear it? Lift your dreams and fill the glass. Did you hear it? Did you hear it? Lift your dreams and fill the glass. That was God's broadcast. That was God's broadcast. Time to embrace
embrace the peace. Time to embrace the peace.